So, Heather, we've been talking about the what I consider to be an unforced error by the Democrats this week in getting caught up in trying to censure Omar Ilhan, the congresswoman, newly elected congresswoman from Minnesota, who has been critical of AIPAC and the sort of the lobbying on behalf of Israel. She was critical of the recent law passed bill passed in the Senate that attempted to codify 27 states' laws that make you take a pledge if you want contracting dollars to not engage in a protest of Israel, which is just, like we said earlier, just bizarre. So she's been critical of this and critical of the ability of Congress people to articulate any critique of Israel. She got attacked, obviously, by Republicans. They wanted to make a big deal out of it, claim that it was anti-Semitism. And then Democrats piled on. They destroyed their rollout of House Resolution 1. I find all of this just rather sort of shocking in some ways. And, to the extent that Ilhan Omar had, some ideas about how much the Israel lobby, and we should be clear that in this day and age, there is more unconditional support of Israel by far amongst Christian evangelicals than American Jews. It's just a statistical fact, no matter really how you want to slice it. That when you talk about Israeli supporters, you're not talking about Jews necessarily, or not exclusively. I mean, this is pretty stunning stuff, I think.
It is, and I think, it's interesting that you pose this question about, why were the Democrats, so, I don't know, obtuse about this. And I think it goes to a couple of things. And when we talked about Ilhan Omar's first, sort of quote gaffe a couple of weeks ago, I think we came to an interesting conclusion, the two of us together sort of talking it through, in that, part of the problem is that she's the one who's out there kind of saying these things, which you and I both know are not uncommon sort of beliefs and thoughts among the Democratic caucus. It's not, I think that all of the Democrats, I think all of them really are supportive of, Jews. I don't think there are any anti-Semites. At least I've not seen. That's just not part of the Democratic thing. That's not who they are. They're supported by, most American Jews are Democrats. But there is an issue that has been long simmering underneath the surface and has been becoming more and more obvious that has to be dealt with about America's relationship to Israel. And in fact, we had seen in the Obama administration some movement a little bit. Obama did the Iran deal much against. AIPAC was not for that, and they lobbied hard against it. And Obama did it. He couldn't put it through Congress, but most of the Democrats in Congress supported it. All the ones, it was something where you could see a little bit of a break in this sort of the dominance of AIPAC. This sort of, it's this blind kind of, you must follow our viewpoint on this. They're very hardcore, like the NRA, really. That's kind of the same model, which is just it's all, everything or nothing. And there had been some movement. Now suddenly we're seeing this sort of, go the other way, which is very strange. And I have to assume that it has something to do with the fact that Ilhan Omar is a Muslim. And right. This is making these people very uncomfortable, that this Muslim woman of color is out there saying this stuff, and it makes them feel, just instinctively, they kind of recoil at that because it feels to them like some kind of an attack on Jews, and that means that these people really need to do a gut check here, because that isn't about, that's in them. Because they're not really looking at. I'm not going to say that Ilhan Omar. Some of her early stuff. I don't agree that lately she's been. This latest stuff she said was anti-Semitic, and the early stuff it was It was lacking thoughtfulness on social media, and I think I made that point before.
And let's be clear here. Let's be clear here. She has apologized for that, and she said that it was that she, as a woman of color and as a Muslim, is very sensitive to that, and it was a painful self-exploration, about what she was using in terms of memes. But this is also someone. Let's be clear, because there's a lot of whataboutism. She is someone who's used the hashtag BDS Saudi Arabia, right? I mean, so she's got criticism to go around in that region. So, I mean, she's got some bona fides here.
Yes, she does. And this is one of the things, look, among the sort of new and modern Democrats that are coming out of the left, they have a different foreign policy view. The fact that, they are looking at a lot of, it isn't just Israel, as you point out. It's Saudi Arabia, it's arrangements, throughout the Middle East with wealthy, oil countries and despots of all kinds. I mean, they're coming at this from a different point of view. They are more radical in foreign policy than what we've seen. Okay, fine, we can have that argument, and that's fair enough. It's long overdue. I mean, I'm all for it. Let's hash this out. But the idea that she is out there on her own, sort of being the focus of this, I find it really distasteful. Particularly, look at what happened to her this week. Aside from this whole thing, the State House in West Virginia had a Republican Day or something, and they put up pictures of 9/11, the World Trade Center being blown up, with her pictures on them.
Yep.
They're calling her a terrorist. I mean, it's the most gross Islamophobic attack I think I've ever seen. We've never seen anything like that on a sitting congresswoman. Yep. Or any federal official like that. It was grotesque. And so, I kind of think the Democrats have got to do a gut check here and recognize that, look, this argument's going to be had, and you can't let Ilhan Omar be the only person out there who's being, she becomes the face of this argument. That's a big mistake.
Absolutely.
Huge.
All right. Well, listen, we got to take a break. If you'll join me in the next hour, we got a lot more to talk about. My name is Sam Seder. This is Ring of Fire Radio. I'm talking to the great Heather Parton. She'll be back in the hour 3. We'll be right back after this break.